AITA for telling my brother he did put his wife's once before his kids? My brother has 2 children from his marriage to his late wife Denise. His son just turned 20 and his daughter is 18. Denise died when the children were 6 and 7 years old. 18 months later my brother met Catherine, his second wife, and they married after 4 months of knowing each other. Catherine was unable to have biological children and she always dreamed of being a mom and wanted to be a mom to my nephew and niece. My brother wanted this for her also. But the kids did not want to be Catherine's children. They did not want to call her mom or be adopted by her. They did not want her to be the sole focus of Mother's Day, etc. My brother spent years trying to get the children to call Catherine mom. He and Catherine applied for her to adopt the kids and were rejected by the judge after she spoke to the children about what they wanted. They tried again and were denied by a different judge before making it to court. Things were always tense with my brother and his children. It was also tense with the rest of the family because some of us spoke up and asked him why he was pushing this on his children so much. He would say Catherine deserved to be a mom and deserved the respect for being a loving and nurturing mother to the kids. Mother's Day from the first year they were married until last year was very toxic. My brother no longer allowed the kids to see their maternal relatives that day, and they also didn't see any of us or visit the grave. He said the day in their family was for Catherine. He would make her breakfast and give her cards and gifts from the kids. Then the kids would tell her she didn't deserve to be celebrated for Mother's Day and she was nobody's mother. My brother didn't like it and Catherine would be upset at the reminder. The kids would also be quick to inform Catherine they never wrote in the cards, because my brother always addressed them to Mom, and the kids never called her that. In the last few months my brother has lost contact with his children. The last time they spoke to their dad, the kids told him they put Catherine's wants before them and they would never forgive him for that. They said he had no right to insist they be the children to fill the void for her when they already had a mom who they loved. My brother dismissed the idea entirely that he put Catherine before the kids like that. When I saw him for New Year's at my parents' house he was telling me about it and I told him the kids were right and he did put Catherine's wants before the kids. I said he made her want to be a mother the most important thing and tried to force the kids to comply and be her kids. He told me that was not what happened and I should be sympathetic to him and to Catherine who had her heart broken by the kids. AITA? NTA. Those kids must have felt they were screaming into a void for 10 years. You just repeated that scream. NTA. Those kids may have called her mom in their own time, if they had been given the chance. That will likely never happen now. NTA. Wow. I'm not surprised they cut contact. You got it 100% right. He prioritized his new wife's imagined motherhood over his children. I feel somewhat bad for Catherine too. Wanting children and not having them is traumatic. And her new husband promised her the world and in doing so poisoned her chance at a form of motherhood. Catherine who had her heart broken by the kids. Catherine's heart was broken by your brother, not the kids. Okay, I'm a woman who always wanted kids and to be called mom. You know how I would have gotten those kids' approval? By helping them make Mother's Day stuff for their actual mom and letting them have little spaces for her in their rooms where they could visit and talk if they needed. Then once they did get on board, I'd just tell them to think of some kind of special name they want to use, if they did want to use one. It's the relationship that was important, not the title. NTA. Always watch out for your siblings. NTA. I'm glad the kids have sensible adults like you on their side. It's infuriating when a dad and stepmother try to erase mom like that. The children were 6 and 7 years old when they lost their mom. I'm sure they adored her. And presenting them with a replacement barely 2 years later is ludicrously insensitive. I'm really surprised at the judges who denied the adoption twice. How could your brother and Catherine not get the message? Didn't have some pointed things to say about this situation. But then if your brother and his wife weren't listening to the kids, they weren't listening to anyone, I guess. If Catherine couldn't have children, that's sad for her. But Denise's children aren't there to fill the void. As is always true in these cases. If Dad and Catherine hadn't pushed the issue, if they'd used Mother's Day to remember and honor Denise, if they'd gone to visit the grave as a family, the kids might well have come to love Catherine. Not like their mom exactly, but like a member of the family. She had a better shot at effectively being a mom by not insisting so hard on being the mom. NTA. I should be sympathetic to him and to Catherine, who had her heart broken by the kids. Like you were sympathetic to your children who just lost their mother, while you were getting ready to marry a woman 4 months later? Or like how you were sympathetic to your children for the 10 years you completely ignored their feelings and tried to erase their mother? You deserve everything you got. The bitter irony to all this is that if Catherine had just tried to be the best stepmom ever, and loved those kids, while still honoring and appreciating their late mother, she might have eventually been seen as bonus mom. Kids respond to respect and love. My grandson loves his stepmother very much, and definitely views her as mom. Eventually even started calling her mom. His mother, my daughter, is not in his life for less than handwaves away a long depressing explanation, sad reasons. And Mindy just stepped in and loved him. She never tried to erase his reality and replace it with her own. So she got a bonus son. NTA. But both your brother and Catherine are Oz, as your niece and nephew have noted and voted with their feet. NTA. From a young person who lost their mom. I'm 23, lost my mom 5 years ago. Losing a parent is trauma enough. Having a new parent forced on you is unthinkable. Catherine and your brother could have adopted a child out of foster care, etc. If she really craved to be a mother this badly. I feel so bad for these two kids. And if setting boundaries with their dad will help their mental health, I do not blame them a bit. NTA. His children going no contact with him is a direct consequence of his actions. And if he can't acknowledge that, then that's on him. It's good that your nephew and niece have you as an advocate. NTA. But your brother and Catherine are. You can't force kids to accept a step-parent as a parent. And that is what your brother and Sil did. NTA. They have decided they cannot be wrong and cannot deal with people thinking otherwise. NTA. Make sure you bring up how well they are in front of the brother and Sil. Also make sure you say things the kids are just like their mother and stuff. Really drive in the kids' point. He will never admit they're in the wrong here, because if he admits to it, he'll have to face the fact he failed his children and that's all his fault. NTA. Your brother was so focused on his wife's desire to be a mom that now he's not a dad. NTA. You can't force a relationship. Kids aren't toys that can be shoved and squished into fitting something. Your brother, frankly, needed to have been told that years ago. Now it's too late, and I doubt he'll ever really hear from his children again in any meaningful ways. He'll learn of graduations and important events secondhand at best, or being pointedly and specifically not invited to events. Yes, your brother has a right to remarry, and I don't think Catherine is wrong to want to feel like part of the family. But his children also deserve the right to have their boundaries respected. If they'd been allowed room, there probably could have been a relationship. But your brother didn't give them that room. He wanted to force them into a specific space instead of working to find a mutually acceptable compromise. NTA There is a reason 2 judges denied their request to adopt. The kids get to choose. NTA She knew before she met him that she couldn't have children by her own. I don't have a good feeling about that story. Like she was looking desperately for a man with children. What I don't understand is how your brother didn't pay attention after the judgment to his children. Feelings? Nope. He tried a second time. And now he doesn't understand what he did wrong. How was Christmas with all family? NTA What about these kids? And being allowed to truly grieve for their mom? These poor kids. No way can you be the here. All you did was speak the truth. If Catherine wanted to be a good mom, no demands would have ever happened. She would have encouraged the kids to properly grieve their mom, not try to be number one mother in their lives. Your brother and Catherine created this heartbreak by neglecting to care for the children's feelings first. They tried to force the relationship. It's no wonder the kids want nothing to do with her. They made the kids feel she was replacing their mother. You cannot force children like that. My father passed away when I was 5 years old, and after my mom remarried she gave us a choice on what to call my stepdad. She said it was entirely up to us. We ended up asking him to adopt us several years later. He had always wanted this, but we were never pushed. And I truly believe that had we been forced to love him we would have turned away. NTA I get so aggravated also by those people that one hand claim to want to be a mom so bad but on the other hand never want to put the actual work in and just force the issue. If she took the time and energy she forced into being a nuisance to those kids into actually building up a relationship with the kids, she might not have become their mom specifically, but she would have had the possibility to become a parent or at least someone important in those kids' lives. If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.